Oh my god, the host just triple sapped.
Do you see who's food running tonight?
56 was just sitting there making out the entire time I was trying to take
Why do we have
order.
so many servers on the floor? Did you hear about 73?
This is a work of fiction. Any similarity to actual persons, living or dead, or actual events, is purely coincidental.
Welcome back, everybody, to Rolling Silverware. I'm Bunny.
I'm Kat.
And this is our post-shift shit talk.
Yeah, some stuff has happened.
A little bit has happened. I had a fantastic night tonight. Sunday night. Was not expecting to have a out-of-the-ordinary fantastic night. But table after table, good people.
Nice.
Like, good people were coming in tonight. The crew was in a good mood. I was in a good mood when I walked in.
Yeah.
Like, aside from that one immediate thing, you know.
Like,
I just really don't like it when the second I arrive in the building, somebody runs up to tell me something. Hey, buddy, oh my God, I have to tell you this. No,
Yeah.
you don't. You don't. Walk away. Give me 2 seconds to, like, you know, adapt.
acclimate, yeah.
Yeah, let me acclimate to being at work for 1 second. Because, like, it's a busy restaurant. And I'm walking into a busy restaurant, so it's like, hey, breathe. Give me a breath.
Yeah, I think I did the same thing to my replacement today. And the minute you said something, I was like, ooh, I think I might have accidentally done the same thing. It was just one of those where I was just so ready to go. And I had 4 tables, and I wanted to give all of them away. I was so ready to just be like, hey, so you can take over all
Right.
these people on dessert. You can take that over. Like, I don't care.
I want none of this. Take
like,
all of it.
I did not care at all in any way, shape, or form. And she, like, hadn't even clocked in yet. And I didn't really catch myself doing that until your replacement came up to you and did that to you. And you were like, God, I fucking hate it when people do that. And I was like, whoops.
Ooh,
But
I did
then,
that.
yeah, of course, you know, the hosts see a new person. They're like, oh, that's 4 more tables we can sit. So they sat her 2 tables, my replacement. They sat
Right.
her 2 tables instantly.
Right.
So I was like, great. I guess I'm keeping a couple tables then because she can't have 8.
Right.
I was like, all right. So I
Great.
closed them out. I had some side work to do anyways. I just didn't want to have to go back out to the floor to figure it out and check on them and this and that. Like, I just wanted to get my shit done and go home.
Well, and I understand, like, wanting to get out of there, right? And when you do have a replacement, I guess I can understand wanting to be like, hey, here's all the info. I just don't want all that info the moment you set eyes on me.
Yeah.
Like, as far as she knew, I hadn't even clocked in yet.
Yeah, that's fair.
I had, but she didn't know that. And also, we were in the middle of a conversation. So
Yeah,
to
she
have
really-
her come up and be like, Bunny, by the way, if you could just pick up this and and I'm like, great.
Let me get
Calm
right on
down.
that.
It's like when the managers talk to me as I walk in the front door. Nope, shut up. Stop talking.
Yeah.
And I've even told soon to be back of house manager one day, he's like, hey, Bunny, I really just want to let you know about these tables. We have a couple parties coming in. And I go, not yet. And he goes, what? And I go, I'm not clocked in. Don't talk to me yet. Like, don't
Yeah.
bombard me with information that I don't need right now. And also, I'm not being paid for it. So stop
Yeah.
talking to me. Please.
Please.
Please stop talking to me. Also, I'm rarely ever a morning server.
Yeah.
So I don't really have the opportunity to have a replacement come in and bombard them with information ever.
Yeah.
So that never happens. Like, that's never something that I do. And also with the way I feel about things, I just wouldn't. I'd be like, hey, let me know when you're good. Like, we'll talk in a few minutes.
Yeah.
You know? Unless I have an emergency and I'm leaving because I have to tell you these things before I leave.
Yeah.
That'd probably be the only time where I'm like, hey, absolutely, we need to speak this very moment. But other than that, I actually had a fantastic night at work. It was very wonderful.
Yeah, tell me about it. You kept teasing it
Yes.
as we were catching up before recording.
Little
Just like,
teasers.
oh, I'll tell you about that later. I'll tell you about that later.
So I got my first round of tables. Not a big deal. Several of them I took from the girl that was there before me because she seemed very much like, I want to get the fuck out of here also.
Yeah.
So I took a couple tables. People were in a good mood. No big deal. And then as my second round of tables gets started, I actually got 4 tables within kind of a short amount of time.
Okay.
But, you know, server manager was there and he's joking with me like, oh yeah, I just wanted to take a note from Fuckface Host and, you know, really, really overwhelm you. Trying to do as she would do. And I was like, yeah, shut the fuck up. And he's like, do you want me to greet it for you? And I go, no, the host is still talking to them. Please don't greet them.
She's still setting down menus.
Right.
It's like,
But I
right
did
there.
let him go get me water and bread for a table that I had greeted in a timely manner. Not
Nice.
too soon. So I go over to the 4th table that I had been sat, right? It's a table 4. And I'm like, hey guys, you know, how's it going? What can I get you started with? So it's 2 older gentlemen and then a couple probably in their 40s on the other side. I was like, hey, what can I get you started with? Oh, I'll take a Coors Light from the younger gentleman. And then seat 1 says, yeah, I'll also have a Coors Light. And then they go to seat 2, and he says, I don't fucking know what. He goes like,
He says, he says
like,
words.
he says words that did not make sense, and then he giggled to himself. To which the 3 other people at the table kind of like put their head in their hands, like, ugh. Like he's starting already, right? And to me, he seemed just like a goofy guy, which, like, okay, fine, be goofy. But what did you say? Because I didn't hear it. So I look at him and I said, I'm sorry? Like, please repeat yourself. And then seat 4, the younger guy goes, oh, please don't listen to him. Like, don't listen to anything he says. Like, so
Okay, but I need to listen to his order.
Yeah, right? And
to
I'm
do
like,
my job.
And I look at him and I go, but what does he want? And then seat 1 tells me, just get him a Sculpin. Like, it's fine. Just get him a Sculpin beer. And I go, okay, great. And then the girl orders. And so I go and I come back. And when I come back, they're talking about, I don't know what, but they're like, are you talking like Melissa McCarthy? And so everyone at the table, except for seat 2, is trying to guess what seat 2 is talking about. And so they're like, yeah, well, he played in a show, like a sitcom with his wife. And I go, like Mike and Molly? And they're like, that's what we said. That's not what it is. So now I am in this.
You're in the conversation, buddy. You're here for it.
I don't care if they want me in it or not. I now need to know what this man's talking about, because nobody at the table knows what he's talking about, and I'm not sure he knows what he's talking about. So I drop the drinks, and then they order a dozen oysters, they order a pound of shrimp, and they order 2 appetizers right off the bat.
Damn.
So they're like, and then we'll order more later. And I said, well, you're going to have to wait because you've run out of room at the table. Like,
yeah.
Even at the bigger table that it is, you don't have room for anything else. So plus I just brought bread, you know?
Yep.
And so they're cool, not a big deal. And then I come back to get their order, and they're not ready to order yet, and that's fine. And he's still going about, it's this stand-up comedian. He was a stand-up, and then his wife was also a stand-up, and he played in a show with his wife. And we're like, okay, well, was it his wife in real life, or was it just his wife in the show? And he's like, no, they were married in real life. And I'm like, okay. And so I was like, how long ago was he a stand-up? Because like I said, I'm 100% set on figuring this out.
Yeah.
And so he goes, well, he was a heavy set guy. He was a stand-up in the late 80s or like mid to late 80s. And his wife was also a stand-up.
Is he talking about Roseanne?
Hold on. Don't get ahead of me.
Sorry, I'm in the conversation.
I don't know, because I didn't think of Roseanne. So I was like, okay, because he kept making the motion like a bigger guy, right? Mm-hmm. So I said, do you want to say heavy set? It looks like you want to say heavy set. And he goes, I do heavy. Yeah, okay, he's a heavy set guy. And his wife, she was a little heavy set too. But they played in this show together, and then they're not married anymore. Like they were married, but they're not married anymore. And so anyways, he played in this movie, and everybody's rolling their eyes, right? But I'm invested. And so he's like, well, he played in this movie. It could have been Die Hard. And he's like, where he had a cowboy hat on. And I go, wasn't Die Hard. And he goes, what? I go, I've seen Die Hard. There's no cowboy hats. And he's like, are you sure it could have been? Well, then it could have been Pulp Fiction, because Bruce Willis was also in Pulp Fiction. I go, so you do know people, because you know Bruce Willis. So you, like, we're on a path. Mm-hmm. And so I leave. And this has gone on over the course of 30 minutes. Like, this is not all happening at once. I'm getting little bits of information each time I'm at the table. And this is the entirety of what they're talking about. Like, they have not introduced a new topic at all. This man's just trying to describe something about some guy. And we don't know what it is yet. And so I'm loving this. So I go to the back and I immediately Google heavyset comedians. And I'm starting to look for ones that are a little bit older. So then I was like, oh, John Belushi. And so I head to the table and I go, is it John Belushi? And he goes, well, what did his wife do? I go, I don't know. I didn't get that far. Is it John Belushi? And he goes, no, I know who John Belushi is. Can you show me a picture? And so I pull out my phone and I look at the table and I go, in case anybody asks, you have asked me to pull out my phone. And so, because he did. Yeah. And so I show him a photo of John Belushi. And he goes, no, not John Belushi. I know who John Belushi is. And I go, okay, great. So then I fuck off again. I have other tables. I'm doing other things. And I come over and I'm throwing out other names, right? Like, we're trying to figure out anything at all. And so I'm about to tell them, because it's coming to the close of their meal, right? This has literally been the entirety of the conversation. And so many times...
we still haven't figured it out yet.
So many times they have told me, like, he doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. Like, he doesn't even know what he's trying to tell us right now. And so I told him, I go, listen, I'm 2 seconds away from giving you one of my phone numbers so that you can text me about it later, because it's going to keep me up at night. Like, I really need to know why we need to know about some guy who was once married to another stand-up and they had a show together. What's the point of this, though? Like, that's the other thing. Mm-hmm. So he goes, so here's what it was. He's like, he has a cowboy hat on, and he's in a scene in a movie in a toilet, like in a bath, like a restaurant bathroom or in a bathroom somewhere, and he's wearing a cowboy hat and he's on the toilet. And I'm like, again, not Die Hard. And I was like, and I'm gonna go one step further, also not Pulp Fiction.
Yeah.
It's like I'm certain of those two things. And so I leave, I come back, and they're like, we figured it out. And I was like, oh, thank God.
How exciting.
It's Tom Arnold. And I went, fantastic. Fantastic. I love this. And they're like, yeah, he was married to Roseanne. And I went, Roseanne. I was like, was Tom Arnold in that show, though?
No.
No.
It was, I don't know what the guy's name was, but it wasn't Tom Arnold.
No, it was the other guy, the guy who did Sully's voice in Monsters, Inc.
Yes.
Yeah. John Goodman. It was John Goodman, right? And so I was like, was Tom Arnold in Roseanne? And they go, he doesn't know. We don't know. Like, nobody here knows. And so like I said, this has been such a thing. It was so much fun. And I brought, server manager came up to me at one point when I was Googling stuff in the back. He's like, what are you doing? I was like, oh, I'm playing trivia or guess who with my table right now with very, very vague clues. So he asked me, what are the clues? And I tell him, and he goes, I'm not doing this shit. And he turns around and he walks away.
You know he turned around and pulled out his phone.
And he's searching.
We're playing trivia. The whole restaurant's playing trivia with this table now.
So it's Tom Arnold. Okay, fantastic. I go, did he do stand-up? And he's like, yeah. And I go, what, one time and you remember it? Like, what are you talking? I don't remember Tom Arnold being a stand-up. Maybe he was. I got to Google that
Yeah,
later.
in like the 80s, maybe.
Maybe, but I've definitely never seen him on stage with a mic, you know?
Mm.
And so he goes, yeah, so he's in this movie. Now we got to figure out the movie. And I was like, oh, good, we're not done.
Perfect. Here's my phone number.
Right, we got to figure out the movie where he was wearing a cowboy hat. I go, perfect, we'll just Google Tom Arnold cowboy hat and go to images. And then
that should give
keep
you
showing him the images. So sure enough, do you want to know what the movie was?
so badly.
It's Austin Powers.
Oh my God.
The original Austin Powers. He is in a scene in a toilet where he's all decked out in cowboy garb for the whole movie, from what I remember. And something happens in the toilet. I think probably fart humor, right?
Yeah, sounds like Austin Powers.
Yeah. So that's all. That's all. He just wanted to talk to them about this scene from that movie that he had seen recently.
And it dominated the
And
entire dinner conversation.
And he could not remember the actor.
I'm sorry, if it sounds like fun. You telling me about this, even being their server might have been like kind of fun. But if I was at dinner with somebody who was dominating the conversation like that about something that insignificant, I would leave.
I think that it held up because it was the fact that he had such vague clues. So then everybody's literally like, well, give us more. So at one point I had come over to the table and I'm like, can you describe the man for me? Like, did he have dark hair? Did he have light hair? Was he short? Was he tall? Like, can you give me more than just he was a stand-up comedian, you know? And so he gives me apparently more information than he has given the table in the past half an hour. And
Because they didn't ask. They didn't ask the right questions.
That's what he said. That's exactly what he said. So they go, great. So you're just going to tell her all the information. And he goes, well, she has good questions. And I was like, I love this. And they've been great. They love their food. Everything went fantastic. Like, everything's great. So then I set down the check. One guy pays. Awesome. Seat one paid. Awesome. I go over and I go, hey guys, I'm really glad that we got a conclusion out of this because I would have been so upset going home tonight. I would have been on my phone all night.
Yeah.
Like I would not have gone to sleep until the wee hours of the morning if I did not figure this out. And the guy goes, well, yeah, but I was like, I was close, right? And I go, sure. Sure you were. I go, you think you were close.
Good job.
Yeah, and so the whole table's laughing, right? Their bill was $340. They left me $100.
Fuck yeah.
So I take that check and I go to server manager and I slide it over to him and I go, this is why I play trivia with my tables.
Mm-hmm.
This is why. Thank you guys. You guys were hysterical. That was a fantastic time. I enjoyed every second of it. I had multiple other tables that were also great and also just in a good mood.
Yeah.
But they just kept being this like point of, I'm just going to go over there and chat with them.
Yeah.
Because I'm in this now. And it was just, I don't know, it was just really good.
That
and
sounds
it
like
was,
a fun night.
Yeah, it was really fun. Like I said, the staff, everybody on staff tonight was seemingly in a good mood and didn't seem like there were any shitty guests in the building.
That sounds really heavenly.
Yeah. So it felt great. And also $100 tip. Fuck yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Thank you
Yeah.
so much.
That's incredible. I didn't have that great of a day. I mean, most of my guests were chill. They were super fine, right? I did have one table though that the minute they sat down, I don't know what was going on with them. It was like one of my last tables too. It was a party of four. I think two sisters, one of the husbands of the sisters, and then the mom of the sisters. But they each get a drink, like, passion fruit iced tea, Diet Cokes, whatever, and then a water for the tables as well. So I'm now 8 glasses
Sure.
taking to this party of four. And the mom gets like a Diet Coke or something, and then she needs a refill. And the server manager saw that she needed a refill, so he goes back out there with another refill for her. And the girls are like, she doesn't need any more soda.
For this
Okay.
grown-ass woman?
Right. I was like, okay. And he's telling me about this. I was like, yeah, you know what? Now that I think about it, she didn't order her own food. One of her daughters ordered the food for her. And
Oh,
it was like, she's going to have this. And I was like, great. That comes with two sides.
two sides.
And then I look at the mom and I was like, what sides can I get for you? And then I was like, oh, I didn't even look at those. Let me see. And she opens it. And then now she's taking forever. And I'm making eye contact with everybody else saying like, hey, do you want to jump in while she figures this out? We can
Yeah,
write
I
down.
always try to do that. I'm like,
Right?
you're looking at sides? Okay, seat 3. Are you ready?
Exactly. So I'm looking at them and they're making eye contact with me and just like, okay.
Just a moment. We have to let this one person conclude first.
For her mom, right? And then so she orders her mom's food. I'm like, okay. And then she sets it down and I'm like staring at her. She goes, oh, my food as well. You don't have to. You don't have to.
Ideally, we're just done here.
Yeah, I was like, we can just put in mom's food on it.
fine.
Like, it's wild, whatever. But then, so I'm telling him this, that, they had done that. And he was like, oh, how unbelievable. And I was telling him how same instance, they're all ordering. And the woman at seat 2, not married woman, single woman, but daughter.
Right.
She goes, I want the fish and chips and a Caesar. So I say, okay, did you want to sub out the fries for a Caesar? Like, do you want a small Caesar instead of your fries? And she goes, I want the fish and chips and a Caesar. And I go, okay, so and an additional Caesar, perfect. And she goes, no, I don't want fries.
God damn it.
What's happening?
I'm trying to solve this for you. I don't know if you know, but the questions I ask are specifically based around how I need you to order.
Right. And then she looks at her sister and she goes, right? Like, I'm saying this right? And her sister kind of gives her like a, look, and I'm like, no, you're not saying it right, you dumb bitch. Do you want to sub out the fries or not? I was just like, you're not getting fries. You said no fries, you're not getting fries. That's
Right.
it. That's the end of the conversation that I need to have with you. Like, stop it.
Also, 9 times out of 10, when I sub out a salad for the fish and chips, they send it with fries anyway.
That's so valid.
They don't even look to see if there's a side included or not.
It just
gives
says
you fries
yeah,
anyway.
just says fish and chips. They're like, these are the chips, bitch.
Yes,
This is what you're getting.
chips.
And whatever. So I'm telling him about all of this, and he just goes, ugh, gross. And then I go back to the table to do food drop, right? So I'm running the food. I drop the food, and I go to pick up the empty plates, like the salad plates that they had on the table, and then mom's empty Diet Coke thing. Things that already happened with the server manager where they tell him she doesn't need any more, whatever. And he already told me that. So as I'm picking it up, they look at me again and they were like, she doesn't need any more soda. And I looked at her and I was like, I know. And I walked away.
I've been told.
They were just so like weird and rude. And I was just like, okay. It was just, not every table had an off vibe, but I definitely didn't vibe with my tables today, which
Sure.
I definitely appreciate a vibe day.
Oh, yeah.
More than I don't, right?
Sure.
Like regular days where I'm just there, I'm just serving, I have a good time.
Sure.
I'm, joking with guests and I'm still giving the same great service, but I don't feel that like, these people were outstanding because of this conversation
Yeah.
that we had, or you know what I mean? Like nothing really like stands out unless it's negative. Then those are days where I'm just kind of like, it was an alright day. I mean, I made decent money. I don't know how the fuck I walked with the amount that I walked with. I was like, this is crazy.
If I am ever at a restaurant and my son is at, 20, 30 years old and he says to somebody she doesn't need any more soda, no, motherfucker, you don't need any more goddamn soda. I'm your mom and I will have as much motherfucking soda as I want. If my son ever says she's good on a glass of wine, fuck you, I am. I don't even care if my doctor tells you that I can't have any wine. I'm
buying a bottle now.
I raised you and I'm an adult. I get to decide how much I have. No, No, unless I am in a hospice bed, you do not get to say what I can
Yeah.
and can't have. Like, absolutely not.
Mom didn't speak once, so I don't know like how cognitive she was,
Sure.
if she was at all, or if she just kept her mouth shut because
They
these
do this all
bitches
the
are gonna
time.
fucking talk over me
right?
anyways.
No, absolutely. No. No. If my boyfriend tried to say, she's good, she doesn't need another Diet Coke,
We're fighting.
You're leaving. Like, you're leaving, and I'm having 7 Diet Cokes while you're gone. Like,
I'm gonna
no.
close this bitch down on Diet Coke.
Just so many Diet Cokes. No, absolutely not. That's wild.
Yeah, it was really weird. But so since like October, I want to say, I saw a tip on TikTok. Not that kind of tip, but I saw somebody talking about how they just save all of their ones
Right,
from
right.
every serving shift. And I was like, that's a really good idea because ones are like not money. They are,
Right.
obviously, and when you put them all together, it,
Yeah.
makes money, but also if you just have like $2 in your purse,
Yeah.
you're not like, oh, I have $22. You're like,
Right.
I got $20,
Yeah.
right? 'Cause
Oh, I throw a good portion of my ones into my glove box, and that's my sweet little treat fund.
I know.
So when I drive through Starbucks or when I go,
Mhm.
oh, real quick, I only have my keys and my phone on me. Oh, that's okay. I've got, this cash. It's really like emergency gas money, but I don't need emergency gas money. I need emergency sweet little treat
Yes,
money.
of course. We all do. But I've been saving all my ones from every shift, and it's racked up
Nice.
fairly quickly. So you and I went and I financed a couple of things, so I had to put some of my ones into the bank account, and I
Right.
didn't know how I was going to do that, just because I hold them together in little bundles of 25.
Right, like a
But
drug dealer.
They're like rolled up.
She
with
binds them with a rubber band. Yeah, she's
little,
got
like-
bands,
little, like,
literally.
hair ties.
Fantastic. Just rolled up wads of cash.
Yeah. And
Of course you do.
as I had them in my purse to take them to the bank today, and I thought about it as I was doing my checkout, and I was like, oh, could you guys use some ones? I'm talking to soon to be back of house manager. I was like, could you guys use some ones? And he goes, yeah. And I was like, so if I gave you ones, you could give me like higher denominations for
Yeah.
that. And he goes, yeah, of course. We would always be okay to do that. So I'm like, okay, wait here. And he goes, oh, you have them on you? And I was like, I do. I grabbed
You
my
come back
purse,
with your bands, your rolled up bands of ones.
$150 worth of fucking ones. And I just start,
So you just fucking dump them on the office table.
I just start
like, oh.
pulling them out of my purse. And he goes, okay. And he starts
I'm
taking
not
them.
joking when I say that the pot dealer I used to have had a bag of money like that. Yeah. Exactly like that. Rolled up, tight little wads.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
You're just like, yeah, here, don't ask any questions about it.
He literally looked at me. He's like, I'm not going to ask you where you got this from. And I looked at him and I was like, look, you gave me $22 in ones today. Like, I'm walking with $22 in ones right now.
That's absurd.
So-
How did you end up with that many ones?
Just cash tips from a couple different people, whether it be,
yeah, I guess it
$4
adds up.
here,
Or I break
$6
change
there,
for
whatever.
somebody, yeah.
Exactly. So that's what I walked with was $22 in ones today. So instead of considering that, $20, I just throw that in my savings
Sure.
and call it a day. And I was like, it's just all the ones that I've been saving since like last October. And he goes, oh, okay. And then I was like, I'll help you count them, make sure that they're 25 each. Because I'm pretty sure they are, but just I
in
don't want to
case.
rip them off, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm like, we'll count them together. And I go, oh, this is great. Now I get to have my hair tie back too, because I do reuse the hair ties. And he goes, oh yeah. And he hands one over to me and he goes, there's a little bit of hair.
Of course there is.
I was dying. And then I sat there and I helped him count out all my ones, and he gave me $150
I love
just in
that.
large denominations. And I was like, thank you so much. Now I don't have to feel weird at the bank.
Yes. Also, I only ever do the drive-up ATM. Like, that's the only way I put money in. I'm not going into the bank. I'm not.
I was gonna go up to the
anything ever.
ATM. I just didn't want to like do that with wads of cash.
Sure. Well, because I turn in my tips once a week, right? And so I
Right.
go through the ATM usually on my day or last day or my second to last day of my week. And I go to the ATM. There are 2 ATMs that I know that will accept up to 100 bills, like 100 individual bills.
Wild. My ATMs are 50.
Okay, so a lot of the other ones through Chase are 30. And so I
Yeah.
often have more than 30 singular bills, right?
Yeah.
But I don't have 100 like you did.
Yeah,
So
I was thinking about it, and I was like, man, I'm gonna have to do this in like 4 batches.
yeah, you would have had to drive back through the ATM.
My ATMs don't do that. You can just say like, deposit this, and is there anything else you'd like? You just like yes,
No,
and then
yeah,
you put 50 more in, and then
no, you can't. Go ahead and hit say yes and to deposit more. It will say you cannot deposit any more cash. If they have taken those 50 bills from you, you
oh, I
have to
guess yeah, I've
completely
never.
exit out. And then, like I said, you wouldn't have to technically drive around. But I probably would have. I would have been like, okay, let me go get back in line and do this again.
Oh yeah,
Because
I'm not sitting there the whole time. That'd be so uncomfortable. If there's cars behind me, forget it. I'm
no,
leaving.
I'm going back in line. I have 100% had like 40 individual bills on me, and so I put 30 and I count out 30 individual bills. I put them in, and then it's like, oh, do you want to do anything else? It's like, yeah, deposit more.
Yeah.
And so I hit deposit. It says we cannot accept any more deposits from you. Like per transaction, it only takes that
Interesting.
much because it's like holding it a little bit and then it drops it to the rest of the ATM, I'm assuming.
I
So it's
guess.
full. Its little thing is full and it can't take any more.
I've never tried doing over 50,
Like the
or
allotted amount.
yeah, the allotted amount of singular bills. I've only ever like, put a couple hundred in, and then they're like, do you want to do anything else? But it's like $300 bills, right?
Right.
And it's like, do you want to do anything else? Yes, I want to deposit more money because you spit back this 100 or whatever.
Yeah.
And so yeah,
Try again.
yeah, I've only ever done that. I've never done it where I had to like deposit $150 in ones.
Sure. Who does?
Yeah, not me.
Ladies of the night. That's fantastic.
But yeah, I thought that was so funny when my husband said something about how he's just like, yeah, if anyone ever broke into our house, they would just think that we're dealing drugs. Like they're
Yeah.
no longer looking for valuables; they're looking for
Yeah,
drugs
now
because they
wanna
know they're
where
in
the
here
drugs,
somewhere.
Yeah, where are the drugs?
Then
I mean,
you
if you had
immediately said the
showed-
same thing.
If you had shown that to me, I would have died. So I went out to, this isn't our restaurant related at all. It's just an interesting story, I guess. I went out to the local dive bar with my good friend the other night, and it's a Thursday night, so it is fucking dead. Like, we
Right.
roll in, it's her and I at the bar top, one other guy down at the end, and then like 2 super regulars sitting right by the bartender, right? And then we know the karaoke guy, so he's coming over and chatting with us. But like it's 9:15, like nothing's happening. Nobody's singing karaoke yet. Also, there's nobody else in this building.
Mm-hmm.
And then at like 9:30, that fucking door gets like kicked in from the front, right? And this girl walks in with her boyfriend. It's just the two of them. I say girl, she was 42 years old. And she goes, "It's my fucking birthday, bitches!" And like screams that to one, an empty bar. And two, if you know anyone here, it's the bartender. Like, if you know anyone here, because I've
Yeah.
never seen this girl before, and we go there often enough that I know the regulars, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I would say I'm a semi-regular, not a regular. But yeah, so then they take a table, and she comes up to the bartender, and, oh, happy birthday, and then me and my friend say, hey, happy birthday, right? So about 10 minutes later, one of her friends walks in, and so she looks to the door, and from her table, like 3 tables behind the bar, right? Or like behind us where we're sitting at the bar. And this woman screams so goddamn loud. And keep in mind, there's music playing in this bar, even though it's mostly empty. There's music playing at a decent volume. This woman screams "Ah!" and runs over to her friend, and her friend screams just as loud. And I look at my friend and I go, if this happens every time one of her friends walks in, we're leaving.
100%.
I left my child at home. You left your 4 children at home so
Yep.
that we could get away. Granted, we're at a bar. I understand that bars are loud. But woman, what the fuck are you doing? And then again, it's my birthday! Yeah, we know. Well, trust me, the 6 of us know.
The 6 of us are aware.
We are so aware. And so then karaoke starts up. And sure enough, another one of her friends comes in. Now her and her friend both... Like, literally, the woo girl is so strong in this group. And I'm just like, oh my God. Bartender looks at me. And because I'm just doing one of those, like, holy shit, I can't fucking do this.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes, it's going to be one of those nights. And I go, for you, it is.
For you, I can leave, bitch.
I can leave whenever the fuck I want. But yeah, so that kept happening. And then she got up and sang, and then everybody screaming, birthday girl, oh my God. And it's like, hey, good for you. I'm so glad it's your birthday. But also, you're between 40 and 45 years old. Nobody fucking cares anymore.
And also, this is a very empty bar on a Thursday night. Like,
Right. Well, and more people ended up showing up, like other parties of people and other people that came to
Yeah.
sing or whatever. But like, holy fucking shit, girl. Calm down. Calm down. Like at the age that you are, you probably shouldn't be this excited about another birthday.
Yeah.
You probably shouldn't, like you're running out of them. Stop it. Stop it. I looked at my friend and I was like, if I ever fucking walk into a place and scream it's my birthday, she goes, I'm slapping you. I go, as you should. As you should. Like, I'm 36 years old. I'm not that excited about turning 37. Like, it's not, no. Even 40, which is like a milestone birthday, right? You're not going to hear me that excited about turning 40.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
We had guests the other day. There were 4 of them, I think it was. They were celebrating birthday. And I can tell you how I knew this, because they used one of our outlets to plug in a neon light sign
Oh, shut
that
the fuck
said happy birthday.
No.
And
This is so much more extra than the candelabra people. Holy
the
shit.
candelabra people
The
were
candelabra
wild.
people are so funny to me. No,
Did we
a
ever
birthday
talk
sign.
about them?
I don't think we have. I don't think we've talked about them yet. We can.
Yeah, so behind them in their booth, they just had a neon lit happy birthday sign. And I was like, I demand that Bunny gets one of those for me. We're going to go to this really nice restaurant that I get discounts at.
Yes.
And she's going to put that up, and it's going to be super nice.
Like, if you want, at any age, and honestly, like, celebrate your birthday any way you want. Like, I'm not trying to shit on people for celebrating their birthday the way that they want.
No,
Like,
just
hey,
don't intrude on other people's
don't
peace and
ruin
quiet.
somebody else's fucking time because you need to let everybody in this whole fucking place know that it's your birthday every 10 minutes.
Yeah, you're not the
Every
main
shot
character.
she took was, it's my birthday, shot. It's my birthday, shot. Every time somebody bought her a shot. And you want to know where she took those shots? 1 seat away from me at the fucking bar top.
Yeah, of course.
Jesus Christ. But also, so like you come into the restaurant, it's your birthday, you've got a birthday tiara, like the little ones that say it's my birthday, or
Right.
a birthday sash, or you even have balloons, or you have flowers, or whatever. Like, you want to make this area yours for this time, you go right the fuck ahead. But if you doing that interrupts my other table over here that just had the worst day of their life or whatever, and like
Right.
doesn't fucking, like, have a little wherewithal of like what's going on around you, and like, please.
Especially
Own
at
it.
a dive bar, you never really know what people are kind of drowning their sorrows in a dive
Right.
bar on a Thursday night. Like, it could be, some kind of
Right.
serious.
And like I said, it did end up getting quieter as the night went on, because then there's more people there, and then other people are singing karaoke and other things are happening, so it wasn't quite. But yeah, every time they took a shot, they'd come up to the bar, which is like, one, you don't have to do that. They have a cocktail waitress. Or you could collect your shots and take them to your fucking table.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was like 1 seat away from me, and I'm just like, they would come up to get shots, and I would just put my finger in my ear.
Yeah,
Because
'cause
I
you knew.
knew that I'm about to get screamed right in my fucking ear.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we have this large group of people that come in, and they celebrate any number of things. They've celebrated birthdays with us. They did like a Galentine's Day, where, so it's, the main people are a man and woman, probably late 60s, I would say,
I
mid
think
60s.
so, yeah.
So for Galentine's Day, it was all her friends, and it was a big group of women. I think it was
Lots of them.
16 or something like that.
Yeah.
And the husband comes and he helps set up for, so every time that they come in as a group of like 16 or 20, if not more. Sometimes it's been 25. And they come and they set up their party table in the little private dining area, right?
Yep.
And they set up their table, and they have these electric candles, right? Like however the like flameless candles that everybody has now. And they're nice. They flicker and they look realistic. Like, the first time I saw them, I 100% thought that they lit 12 candles at this table. Like, I thought 12 burning candles were happening in this room, because I looked at one of our managers. I was like, yo, is that safe? Like, are we just letting
Yeah.
them burn all these candles? But they're like whole ass fucking like 5 candelabras
Yep.
that they bring, and then they turn on each little candle and then stick it in the thing.
And then set them in, yeah.
And
it's
it
very
looks
fancy.
It's very like festive. Like it really sets the tone of the room. One time they were doing like an auction or something,
Yeah.
because the
I
woman
remember that.
brought like a microphone that was attached to like a little boombox or like a little speaker box, and she was like auctioning off stuff, and then they even had a guy wearing like one of those little auctioneer hats.
They do
Might have
weird
been her-
shit with
yeah,
their friends. I don't know.
They do. I mean, they seem like a fun group. My understanding is that they don't tip very well, and they're
I've never taken care of them.
I
Yeah.
have not either, but I have heard that they do not tip very well. And they all kind of just order like soups and salads and stuff. So the ending bill is usually not much. And then it's always like a 18-way split or something.
That's so wild to me to be a regular in a restaurant and not tip well. Like, aren't you embarrassed? I don't know. It just, it feels weird to
Maybe
go
they
somewhere
just, yeah, maybe they
constantly.
don't even know that they aren't tipping well. But it also, for me, it's the split checks. Like if you're going to come in
Yeah.
repeatedly with parties of 16 to 20 or more, please consolidate that. Like, for the love of God, please. Just have everybody fucking Venmo or Zelle you. Like, we've talked about
Yeah.
this before. It's not that hard. Everybody's got some form of a Cash App on their phone, whether it's through their bank or just on your phone.
Yeah. As I say, I think iPhone just like automatically does it. You can send money through your Apple Pay
Yeah,
to
Apple Pay.
another
Yeah,
to
Apple Pay
another iPhone. Yeah.
to Apple Pay just does it. Most banks offer Zelle, so you
Mm-hmm.
just have to type in somebody's phone number
Yeah.
and send it to them. It's like, and it's instant. It's immediate. There's no taxes. There's no anything else. You just zip money right on over.
Yeah.
And also, does nobody want the points? Like, nobody wants the points on their card for like this bigger purchase? No? Okay.
Okay.
All right. But yeah, and then for Valentine's Day, the husband is a violinist. And so he had his little violin.
I didn't see that. That's
Yeah,
cute.
yeah,
To be
and so
fair, I
he-
worked the morning. I didn't work the night
He goes
shift.
in and he starts playing, and all the girls freak out, and they're like, oh my God, this and that. But so the whole time while they're having their Valentine's Day thing, he's sitting in a booth all the way across the other side of the restaurant, and he's eating by himself so that
Fuck
they
it.
can have their little gathering. And he left his violin case at the booth when he went to go play for them. So the night goes on. It's the very end of the night. I mean, those girls all the women freaked out about him playing, and like it seemed cute, right? Okay, no big deal. And they wrap it up. They don't stay super late after closing, so like they were wrapping it up, and he comes running into the bar. And he's like, my case. Have you seen it? Have you seen it? And I was like, no, sir, I have not seen it. So he grabs the bartender, and it was Southern Peach. And he's like, where have you seen it? Because she was the one that was serving him at that table. And she goes, sir, I haven't seen it. Well, he had moved it to the private dining area.
No.
So he's like freaking out because he couldn't find it, and it was just like mixed in with all the candelabras and stuff. So
The candelabras.
there's like 3. So many. Well, and I made the joke that like now I want to get one because they do look nice, right? Like they
They
really
do.
set, it's like very ambiance, right? Like
Yeah.
it looks really nice, and I was
Ambiance.
the ambiance. I made the joke that I was gonna get one and then go into like Cheesecake Factory or something with my boyfriend, and then just from my purse pull out a whole ass fucking candelabra.
If you do that, you
And
can't
start-
tell him that you're doing that.
No. I'm bringing a bigger purse that day, and he won't know why.
Yeah.
And then I'm just going to start setting it up and watch his face. I just feel like, yeah, we're doing this now. We've played a board game at a restaurant before
Yeah.
because we really wanted to play, and that's where we had space to do it. So.
Yeah.
And like I don't mind. Like people have played games, like card games or whatever, at my table. It's like I don't care as long as you tip me accordingly to the time that you're gonna be here. Like if you're gonna be here super long,
Mm-hmm.
just playing games and getting drinks or whatever, yeah, I don't care. I just don't care. Like that's just really what it comes down to. Like whatever you want to do at this table that is, like I said, just for you
Yeah.
and not bothering anybody else, you do that. That's fine.
Every once in a while, I kind of like campers because I just don't want to deal with
Yeah.
everything. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want a new table right now. If you get up, that means they're going to seat me somebody else and I got to do the whole thing again. Like, every once in a while, I'm just like, yeah, camp in my section so
Yeah,
that
please
I can
hang out.
just chill.
Yeah, please stay all day.
Yeah.
That's fine. I
Not
agree.
not all the time, but sometimes I'm just like, hell yeah, camp all fucking day.
So I did have something. It's on here, so I don't think I've talked to you about it yet. I don't think. The other week we were talking about Valentine's Day and how the breaks went, and how we were wondering by the end of it, why don't we have a breaker that just comes in, right?
Yeah,
Like
we
a
talked
morning
about
and
that,
night
yeah.
breaker or whatever. And I said that I was going to bring it up when I went to work the following day.
Yeah, did you?
I did. So our regional was in.
Nice.
And so he's doing stuff at the line, and we did our pre-shift, right? And so he's there to like keep an eye on the pre-shift and see how we do that and how it goes. And it went fine. We all answered the questions that were asked of us and this and that. But one question, so I'm sure this was in the training manual, but I don't fucking remember this. He looks at all of us and he says, guys, what's the point of a pre-shift? And I was like, oh, to like educate us on the items so that we can sell them to the guests. and to know how to sell them. He goes, no, but like, what are the points? Like, what are the 3 reasons, like the things that we try to accomplish with a pre-shift? And I'm all, I don't know. So it's to inform, educate, and motivate, or something like that.
Wouldn't that be a manager's
Yeah, it's not
thing,
our
though?
it's not our job. It's there. He's just saying like, what's the point of the pre-shift?
Right, but I'm saying, why would any of us know that?
I don't think we
like,
do. I think that's probably in the manager training. But there was like this heavy silence and like crickets, and I'm just like, I don't know, man. Like, what are you talking about? So then he says it, and I'm like, I've never heard those 3 words put together before. Like, no one's ever looked at me and guys, pre-shift, educate, inform, motivate, guys, educate,
Yeah.
inform, motivate over here. Like, nobody's ever fucking said those 3 words in a string to me before.
Yeah.
So I was just like, okay.
And also what you said was a part of that equation.
Yeah, like I wasn't wrong. Ugh, never wrong. So anyways,
Oh.
not the point.
Back on track.
So after pre-shift, he was still standing at the line, and I roll up and I was like, hey, I want to ask you something. Because he's worked as a GM at our location as well as at a GM at other locations. So I was like, hey, real quick, do other locations have breakers on holidays? And he goes, what do you mean? And I was like, do they have a specific person that comes in to give breaks and then leaves? And he goes, well, no, because we don't have a way to tip them. And I'm like,
tip them.
that's what I said. I said, why would we need to tip them? And he's like, well, I think we've tried it before, and it just didn't quite work out. I go, well, we wouldn't have to tip them. We could give them a free meal. And he goes, And he goes, I feel like other locations have tried or have gone about, like, having a person come in and break. And he's like, but at the end of the day, like, everybody has to work. I go, well, that's what they're doing. They're working. They're coming in and they're giving 4 or 5, 6 breaks even. That's 3 hours, you know? And then they get to fuck off and go home. And I was like, because I can promise you that people here would jump on that chance. And then I looked at him and I said, not me. I wouldn't. And I was like, and it could just be you just pick a name and you roll through the list. Like, do it alphabetically or pull it out of the hat. Hey, you're a breaker, you're a breaker. A lot of us, like we talked about before, would say, no, that's okay. Move on to the next person. And if it had to be me, then okay, I guess I'm the breaker this holiday. I've done it at other restaurants. I've been the breaker, you know. But like I said, I was like, it wouldn't be me. I want to be here all fucking day. I love making that money. And then I made the joke with him, like, oh, Mother's Day? Love looking at people and being like, yeah, my son's at home. Yeah, he's waiting for me. Whatever, right? And so he just kind of went, let me get back to you on that. I was like, fuck yeah, thank you. So then later in the day, our GM was in that day. And so I snagged her. And I was like, hey, before you leave, can we chat? And she's heavy sigh. Because it was supposed to be her day off, right? But she's in. I know we don't care. I know. But she gives me the heaviest sigh, and she goes, can we just talk about it now? Does it have to be later? And I go, no, I've got a minute. I only had 2 tables at the moment. So I was like, no, I've got a minute if you want to chat right now. She goes, great, tell me now. I go, how come we don't have a breaker on holidays? And she goes, I've tried. I go, how? What do you mean? She's like, well, when I worked at the other location, I've tried. She's like, but at the end of the day, I would need somebody to come in, give 3 breaks, and then get on the floor. And I go, I don't think we do.
Yeah, why?
Like, you're not hearing me when I'm telling you that I've been at this location for 4.5 years. So however many fucking holidays that adds up to be, 17, 18 holidays or more, like major holidays. We do not need every single server on the floor. We don't. I know you guys want to sit here and be like, oh, that would be, 4 tables here, 4 tables here, 4 tables. But they're never all sat. Like, almost ever. We don't need them. And also, what if you just let some of us make some fucking money? What if we just make some money?
God forbid.
Who knew? On a holiday, we might make some money. And so I was like, I don't think you would. And she's like, well, this one was really tight and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, all right, you're not in the headspace for me to talk to you about this right now because she gets really frazzled really easily.
Yeah.
So I was just like, okay, all right, whatever. And I let her dip out. But at least I did get something from the regional,
nice.
But his first, like I said, the very first thing he said was, well, we don't have a way to tip them. And I'm like, why would you tip them? Why would you tip them?
Yeah, they would just clock in as a server. Like, you wouldn't even need to give them a new barcode.
And why do
not a barcode. We're not there yet.
We're not scanning in on our wrists yet. Thanks, Kat.
No, we wouldn't even need to give them a new job code. They would just clock in as server, and then any table that they took, they don't close anything out. It
That's
just
what
gets
I'm saying.
transferred directly back to the server.
You
that
have
they're
no
working.
sales at the end of the night, so why do you need to claim any tips at the end of
Right.
at the end of it? You wouldn't have to. So anyways, it wasn't the greatest answer, but also, like, he gave me an answer. He said, let me get back to you.
Mm-hmm.
But I had so much more to say on the topic, and I was kind of like, no, I need you to talk to me about this right now.
Yeah, I need you to hear me.
Yeah. But I always joke around with him, right? Like, he's
Yeah.
decent. But the last few times he's been in, we really haven't spoken at all. Like, he's head boss. He's head honcho now, you know?
Yeah, he really
So he's
is.
got a lot going on. But him and the GM were standing by the lobster tank. And I was standing there ringing in food, and I hear him saying, like, oh, yeah, you know, like, I do just really like this location. Like, there's something about this location that just really does it for me. And I turn around and I go, you can say it. It's the staff. And I like went and walked to him. You can say it. And then our general manager was like, okay, buddy, walk away. Like, it's fine. You can say it. It's us.
One of my favorite things, because when he was the, what was it, regional kitchen manager?
He was,
right?
yeah, the director or whatever of the kitchen director.
Yeah,
or
so
whatever
he
it
was like, he did back of house, you know, for a bit. He was like a regional of back of house. And he came in for a while. He was
Yeah.
coming in like quite
All the time.
frequently. And so one of my favorite things to say to him now when I see him, I go, ugh, you're so obsessed with us. I go, oh, can't get enough of us. You're back. And like, I always make fun of him for being around a lot, but he is one of the few regionals that kind of is around a lot.
Yeah.
And I do appreciate. I went off like 4 or 5 days ago, last Tuesday, because so we have this new food packing, right? We box up food for the guest. We've talked, you know,
Yeah.
we box up food for the guest, and they wanted to move that station into the beverage station,
Right.
which is already a really tight fit.
Yeah.
And so the service manager was telling me, oh, I want to move all of this stuff just over the fountain drinks. I want to move it somewhere, and then we'll put all of the boxes and stuff that you use to box up food, we'll put it all here. And I looked at him and I said, if at any point in time on a busy Friday or Saturday night, somebody reaches over me while I'm getting glassware to grab a box, I am elbowing them in the stomach.
Yeah, that, or they're going to elbow me in the eye, or, you know, we're going to
No,
bump
I'm
into each other.
doing
like,
it on purpose. Get the fuck out of my space.
Right.
Like, I would flip out if somebody got in my space to grab a box while I'm trying to get drinks or
Right.
something. And I was like, I don't think that's a good idea. This is a really busy area on these busy weekend nights.
Yeah.
I think it would be better, you know, somewhere else. And so I was looking at this, you know, area that they have it, and I was like, why don't we put a shelf like right above it? Obviously there's holes in the wall here. We've put something here before.
Right.
So can we just put a shelf here? And he goes, I don't know. It would be in guest view. And I lost my shit.
Where? No, where are you talking for the shelf? Above where we put that tray?
Right above the tray.
Okay. I didn't know where you meant in the
Yeah.
beverage station.
Yeah,
Okay.
right above the tray. And guests would be able to see it when they're walking to the bathroom or something like that. And I
God
lost.
fucking forbid that a guest see me doing my motherfucking job. You're joking. This was the problem with the sauces in the lounge.
Yes.
Anybody from last season would know that this was a huge fucking ordeal about not being able to keep any fucking sauces in the lounge
Do you
anymore.
remember when they took our condiments off the line of the kitchen
Yes.
and told us that, oh, well, guests could see it when they're going to the bathroom? So this is what I am now saying. I am losing my ever-loving shit on the server manager, and I apologize.
And he was not here for any of this.
No.
He
And
doesn't know the lore and how upsetting it was.
And I did apologize to him later. But I'm telling him, I'm like, God forbid guests see us doing something. Where do they think the shit comes from? It's the kitchen. It's the kitchen of a restaurant. This
Right.
is where you're going to find your condiments. This is where you're going to find your to-go packing stuff.
Yeah.
I don't just magic this shit out of my asshole and hand it to them.
Right.
And they know that. This is a kitchen of a restaurant. If corporate didn't want us to be able to be seen by guests,
Put some
then
fucking doors up.
put some doors up. Don't
Right.
have an open concept. What the fuck?
Yeah, we don't have swinging doors that lead in and out of the kitchen like some restaurants do.
Right.
We don't have those.
I was yelling in the bev station. I was so mad. And later, when I walked up to him, I said, look, that was really inappropriate. And I'm very sorry for my reaction to that. I'm just really tired of regionals coming in once every 6 months to look around, take some pictures, say, this is wrong, 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 change it, you're doing everything wrong, and then fucking off and never coming back.
Right.
That bothers me. And
And
he
also
goes,
not taking anything into consideration for the fact that these are the things we need to work.
right.
Like, I understand that maybe we don't want it to look a mess. We don't want, like, taking the bus tubs out from the server stations, right? Because there used to be bus tubs there.
Mm-hmm.
Taking those out made sense to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, a big giant tub of dirty dishes, and also hearing everybody clank those dishes in there all the time.
Yeah.
That made sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
Taking the trash cans away did not make sense to me.
Yeah.
We've spoke about that. Like,
Mm-hmm.
what do you mean I can't have trash? This restaurant generates trash. Guests know that.
Yeah.
You know, and we're not scraping plates into the trash in front of them. Like, that never happened. This is paper trash. It's paper.
Yeah.
What do you mean I can't? But anyways,
No,
I'll let it go.
That's also something I said is like these, these people come in once every 6 months to look around, actively change things that make my job harder to take care of the guests that are so beloved by them.
Right, that we so need to impress, but you're making it harder for me to impress them.
Exactly. It bothers me that they do that because they're not here on the day to day. They don't know what this restaurant runs like. They don't know what it feels like.
And a good portion of them, not all of them, but a good portion of them have never been a server. Have
Right.
never even been a restaurant manager.
Mm-hmm.
And do not know what it's like in that day-to-day heat of the moment. This is what you need. This is where I need it. This is how it should work.
But not only that, even if they were a server, like our service manager was, our regional service manager was a server years and years and years
Right.
ago, but she was a server for a while, right? But she's never come in and taken a section
No.
in our restaurant to know then, okay, well, when I go to the back to box up these people's food, there's not a space for me. Oh, well, now there's a space for me, but the things are up here. Oh, maybe that's, you know what I mean? Like,
Right.
they're not going through the motions even once to see how difficult it would be
Right.
for the changes that they want to make, how difficult that would be on us as your employees. And like, I'm sorry, but as the servers, we are the ones that are getting a lot of the brunt of guest dissatisfaction.
Yes.
When they're upset, we're the ones taking that on. So any little thing that we can do to make their experience better, to make their experience easier, things that make it easier for us to do that for them should be a top priority.
Yeah.
And that's what I was explaining to the server manager. I was like, I'm really sorry I reacted that way, but this is why. And then I did tell him the lore about how they took our condiments out of the kitchen. And I was like, that really triggered me. I'm sorry. And he goes, yeah, girl, you went into another dimension. I don't know what that was. He was like, you just kept talking. And I just went, I get it.
Absolutely.
And I was like, okay. But yeah, that was also like, I think it was either the same day. I think it was the same day. I ended up crying on shift.
Ugh.
It was a bad day. It started out bad and then it got worse. My guests were not okay with me being there in their
Me existing
yeah,
here
me
at all.
existing was not good for them and it wasn't good for me. And I cried I was just in the back crying at one point and so I was like, I'm not coming in tomorrow. I had a shift on Wednesday and I was like, I'm calling out tomorrow. I'm not doing this. I did ask a couple people like, hey, do you work tomorrow? Do you want to?
Right.
Like somebody take this shift from me? Because it wasn't like a lead server shift.
Right.
It was just a regular shift. I was like, please, someone take the shift from me. And nobody would take it. So I was like, fuck it, whatever. I'm going to call out. And then my stupid husband decided to work from home that day. So I couldn't call out because he would have heard me. Or if I had, magically like, oh, I have to go run this errand for a second and left the house for I don't know half an hour and then came back and be like, you'll never guess what happened while I was gone and you weren't witness
and
to it.
You didn't seem to
Yeah.
know about it.
They called me off, boo-hoo. Like he would have caught on to that so quickly.
Sure.
We've been together 11 years. Like he knows my
Fuck
bullshit.
that.
He has caught on to a lot of my bullshit. So I couldn't call out. I was so upset. I even told him at one point, I was like, you ruined everything. And he goes, okay, go to work.
That's so funny.
And I did. And Wednesday was fine because you were there. And so it kind of kept me a little bit more like even keeled, I guess. Just having that like familiar like face. Not that most of my coworkers are familiar faces, obviously.
No, but it was definitely like, hey, everything's good. It's going to be fine.
Yeah.
It's just another day. Fucking whatever.
Yeah.
Right? And I was really happy you were there because I always like working with you. We
I
don't
know.
get too many of those.
Not anymore, yeah. I do. I always do appreciate my shifts when you're there, though, because every time I start to get riled up, I can just, like, look at you and just be like, nah, everything's going to be all right.
It's fine.
I'm never riled.
I've never been riled. We don't rile each other up. We absolutely do. The amount of times that a manager here has told me something along the lines of like, just don't tell Kat right now, or like, or can you wait for you and Kat to go off about this later? Like, I know you're not happy with the thing that's been said. Can you not bring somebody else who's going to be unhappy about it in with you? And like, oh, it's just.
I will give you nothing but love, support, and outrage.
Yes.
Every time.
Constantly.
That's the kind of friend I am. The minute something happens, I go from 0 to 100 mad so quick.
You're more mad about things that happen to me than I am, and I love that. Like, it is really, like, you're so on my team. You're the manager of my team.
Hell yeah.
You make me go, yeah, you're right. You know what?
Actually.
Now that I think about it from your point of view, I'm pissed.
Which is great. Oh, managements hate to see us coming.
They're like, oh, God damn it.
Maybe that's why we don't work shifts together anymore.
Probably why.
Every once in a while, as though somebody will tell me something, and then she'll be like, oh, you're going to tell Bunny, huh? And I'll look at her and be like, I've already texted her.
I already have.
I was texting her while you were talking. I don't know if you know this.
Do you want to check out?
I do want to check out. I don't have to be back here tomorrow. So
I
that's
also don't have to be back here tomorrow.
You want to go get a drink?
Let's.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to Rolling Silverware Podcast. If you are enjoying the post-shift shit talk, please feel free to rate it. Tune back in next week for our shift shenanigans.